Let's take a quick look at getting started using Python in Maya. So soon we're going to switch over to a proper Python editor, but for now we're just going to use the script editor in Maya. And the script editor is available right down here in the lower right corner, or you can always get it from Windows, General Editors, and Script Editor. Right down here. So the script editor has a top and a bottom to it. The bottom is for input and the top is for output. We can zoom in on these by holding down Control and middle mousing. I'm using the middle mouse wheel. And I'll do this during class time just to make it a little more legible. Now, Python is used in Maya, but it's not Maya's native language. Maya's native language is MEL, the Maya embedded language. And you can see here that we have two different types of tabs available in the script editor. And for our purposes in this class, unless you're using MEL, you want to make sure that you're doing everything in a Python tab. So we'll just open up a new tab and it asks you if you want MEL or Python, and we just want to make a Python tab. And then I'll make this a little bit larger. And I like to put my my output so that it's a little bit smaller at the top like this, so we have more to work with. So the script editor is okay. It does highlight the Python code, and it will also color the specific Maya functions for you as well. But it doesn't have autocomplete. It doesn't have any kind of error reporting. And once you get into larger scripts, this is really not the place to do this. This is more of like a play space where you can try out functions very quickly, write short blocks of code. You should not be doing all of your major work here. So by week 2, we'll switch over to a proper code editor. A couple things to note about Python in general. This is just a little snippet of code that will tell you what your version of Python is. You don't have control over this because this script editor is tied to Maya, and Maya has a specific version of Python built into it based on the version you're running the script editor from. So you can see this is version 2.7.11. Python is up to version 3.7 or 8 by now. I don't remember. And they've been trying to move from version 2 to version 3 of Python, they being all the Python users, since about 2012, I would have to guess. And it's very complicated because there are literally hundreds and hundreds of thousands of applications written in Python 2 that would need to be ported over to Python 3. So as of 2020, apparently Python 2 will no longer be officially supported, and Autodesk at some point in the near future is going to have to make the decision to jump over to Python 3. But we're not there yet. The reason you need to know about this is because when you're looking for information to solve problems that you have when you're doing a Google search, make sure that the search, that the results that you're getting are for Python 2, not 3. The differences are significant, but they're not immediately apparent. So the code itself looks very, very similar, if not identical. To be honest with you, we're not really missing anything from Python 3, given what we're using Python for in Maya. Code reads from the top to the bottom. And Python uses, most programming languages work that way. They read from the top to the bottom. We'll jump around when we start introducing functions, but for now, what you write at the top is going to be processed first before what's on the bottom. To execute a block of code that you have here, you're going to use these 2 double arrows up here. And if you just press that, it's going to print out what is in your window, and then it's going to print out the result. And the result we're printing with just a print statement. And we'll be using the print statement for most of our debugging and all of our output. And we'll be using it exclusively for the first class period. Python files are written with a .py extension. You don't have to worry about that in here right now, but you can in fact save your code out from here, right? File, you can save your script. You can save it out as a .py file. To bring py files into here, you can just drag them right into this window and they'll open up. And that's probably the easiest way to get other code or a script you're working on back into Maya if you want to play with it. So what else was I going to mention for this? Code blocks. This is sort of just Python 101. Python does not use curly braces. There are very few parentheses or very few colons or semicolons, not parentheses. So if we were to write some code in a block, if we were going to do a quick function, if I can spell that, forgive my very clacky keyboard, function's going to be like this. You can see that the next line that we would type in here is going to be indented. So this is the code block. So instead of other languages where you might have this with your curly brackets, and then you might have this, right? This will look like a lot like C# or C++ or C. We work with indentation, and the default indentation is 4 spaces. So a lot of the errors you'll get will have to do with the indentation there. One other problem, like here's an error right here. See, unexpected, expected an indented block, and it's not indented. So it's really important that you get that indentation right. You'll see that this tells me what line my error's on. That's not actually on by default. You have to turn on show stack trace. Otherwise, you're going to get this, and you don't know where it's coming from. So to read your errors in the script editor, go up to History, Show Stack Trace. You can quickly remove anything in the top block by pressing this with the X in the top. If you want to remove everything in the bottom, you can press the one with the X in the bottom, or you can clear them both like that. What I recommend you do is get this set up how you like, with a size that you like. I have noticed that there's a bug in 2020 where every time I open up the script editor again, the size is reset, and that's not the way it's supposed to be. So hopefully they'll resolve that in a future version. Okay, that's it for this video.